In the night, the prophet saw horses moving between mountains of bronze. He saw a scroll flying through the sky. He saw a lampstand burning without human hands feeding its flame. He saw a city measured before it was restored. These were not dreams meant to be forgotten. They were messages for a people rebuilding among ruins. A people surrounded by stronger nations. A people wondering whether heaven had abandoned them. And perhaps they are messages for anyone who has ever wondered whether the unseen world is still moving behind the visible one. Welcome to Code of Scripture. Today, we continue the Code of Scripture. After Haggai called the people back to the forgotten temple, another prophet stepped forward. But Zechariah did not begin with commands. He began with visions, night visions, symbols that moved like dreams, warnings, promises, messages from a reality beyond the ruins. This is Zechariah, the night visions. Zechariah lived during the return from exile. The people of Judah had come back to Jerusalem after years away, but returning was not the same as restoring. The city was damaged, the walls were broken, the temple was unfinished, their enemies were nearby. Their resources were limited, and the old glory of Jerusalem felt impossibly far away. They were free, but they did not feel powerful. They were home. But home no longer looked like home. This is the world Zechariah entered. A world where people could see the ruins with their eyes, but could not see what might still be moving beyond them. And so, in the middle of the night, the visions began. The first vision is strange. Zechariah sees riders on horses moving through a valley. Red horses, brown horses, white horses. They stand among myrtle trees in a low place. Behind them rise mountains of bronze. The riders report that the earth is quiet, at rest. But this is not peaceful silence. It is the silence of an empire that believes nothing can challenge it. The world appears stable. The powerful remain powerful. The ruins remain ruins. And yet the horses are moving, they are watching, they are reporting. The message is subtle. What appears still is not necessarily untouched. What appears permanent is not necessarily secure. The unseen world is not asleep. It is observing. It is moving through the shadows between the mountains. Then Zechariah sees 4 horns. In the ancient world, horns represented power, military strength, kingdoms, the force that scatters people and crushes cities. These horns had scattered Judah. They had scattered Jerusalem. They had scattered hope itself. But then Zechariah sees 4 craftsmen, builders, workers, hands carrying tools. They come to terrify the horns, to break the power that had broken others. This is one of the hidden reversals in Zechariah. The world believes power belongs to armies, to kings, to empires. But the vision suggests something else. Sometimes the force that dismantles oppression does not arrive as another empire. Sometimes it arrives as builders, as people restoring what was destroyed, as hands willing to work where others only see rubble. In another vision, Zechariah sees a man carrying a measuring line. He is going to measure Jerusalem, to define it, to calculate its borders, to determine how much of the city can be rebuilt. But an angel interrupts him. Jerusalem, he says, will become a city without walls, too full of people, too alive to be contained. And then comes the promise, I will be a wall of fire around her. This is a radical image. The old city needed stone walls because stone walls were protection. But Zechariah sees a future where protection does not come from stone. It comes from presence, an unseen fire surrounding the city, a boundary no army can measure, a defense no empire can map. The vision asks a question that still matters. What protects us when the walls are gone? Then comes one of the most human visions. Zechariah sees Joshua, the high priest, standing before the angel of the Lord, and beside him stands the accuser. The accusation is not explained, but the image is familiar. A person standing in the ruins of their own past, covered in shame, remembering every failure, hearing every voice that says, "You are not clean enough, you are not worthy enough, you cannot rebuild after what happened." Joshua stands in filthy garments, but then the garments are removed. He is given clean robes, a new turban, a new beginning. This is not denial. The dirt was real, the failure was real, but the vision declares that failure does not have to become identity. The past may explain where you stand, it does not have to decide where you go. Then Zechariah sees the vision at the heart of the book, a golden lampstand, 7 lamps burning, and beside it, 2 olive trees. Oil flows directly from the trees into the lamps. No human hand refills them. No worker carries oil. The flame is fed from a living source, and the message arrives, not by might, nor by power, but by my spirit. This is the code hidden inside the vision. The people rebuilding Jerusalem felt small. They did not have armies, they did not have wealth, they did not have the power of the empires around them. But Zechariah tells them that the light does not survive because people are strong. The light survives because it is connected to its source. The lampstand is not sustained by force. It is sustained by flow. And perhaps that is the question behind every exhausted life. Are you trying to keep your flame alive through effort alone? Or are you connected to something that can replenish you? But not every vision is comforting. Zechariah sees a massive scroll flying across the sky, a written judgment moving over the land. The scroll enters houses built on theft and lies. It exposes what people hide behind closed doors. The ancient world understood something we often resist. A city cannot be restored only through buildings. It must also be restored through truth. The temple can rise. The streets can fill, the markets can return, but if deception remains hidden inside the homes, the ruins are only being rebuilt on top of themselves. The flying scroll is the reminder that restoration requires more than appearance. It requires honesty. Then comes one of the most unsettling images. A woman sits inside a basket. The basket is sealed with lead. The vision calls her wickedness. She is carried away toward the land of Shinar, Babylon. The image is strange, symbolic, and difficult. But perhaps its message is simple. Some patterns cannot be healed by decorating them. Some forces must be named, contained, removed from the center, because you cannot rebuild a sacred place while carrying the same destruction into its foundation. Zechariah is a book of visions because some truths cannot be spoken plainly. They have to be seen. A horse moving through the night, a city surrounded by fire, a person receiving clean robes, a lamp that never runs out of oil, a scroll crossing the sky. These images tell a people among ruins, you are not alone. The visible world is not the whole world. The ruins are not the final chapter. And the light is still burning, not because you are powerful, not because you have everything you need, but because somewhere beyond what you can see, the source is still flowing. The people looked at broken walls, unfinished stones, an uncertain future. But Zechariah looked beyond the ruins. He saw movement in the night, fire around the city, oil feeding the flame, and a future no empire could contain. This has been a Mysterious Encounters entry into the code of Scripture. The archive is never closed, and the night is still full of visions.